Hey everybody, Max Rich here. And that was a jazz standard called Stella by Starlight. A really incredibly well-written jazz standard, and one that, every jazz fan really should know because there's so much to be learned from it. Like so many jazz standards, the thing that makes jazz sort of daunting, like a lot of players who come, like me, like a lot of players who come from like a blues rock background when you're a kid, not everyone grows up playing Charlie Parker tunes. A lot of us, I grew up playing like Jimi Hendrix songs and, blues rock and stuff like this. So getting into jazz was always sort of like a really challenging task that seemed daunting and seemed impossible. And if you're here to learn Stella by Starlight, hopefully you have some exposure to jazz, because it's not like an intro to jazz type song. We're going to be talking about chords like, dominant 7 flat 9 chords, 13 chords, diminished chords, half diminished chords, things like this. If any of that sounds like totally foreign to you, I want you to stop right now, take a second. We have a ton of videos on jazz theory and jazz chords so you can kind of get up to speed, because there's so much music involved in this song that I don't want to take up all the time explaining each chord. What is a dominant 7 chord? What is a dominant 9 chord? There are some prerequisites, and those are the type of things you need to know if you're going to dive into this lesson. But for those of you guys who are sort of at that point in your jazz theory knowledge, this song can really bring home how an easy, simplistic, well-written melody over complex chord structures can really give you that, quote-unquote jazz feel, right? Because that's really what jazz is all about, is complex harmony with a simplistic melody. A lot of chords share the same note. Just think, just really basic. You take a C major chord, you take an F major chord, you take an A flat major chord, you take, an A flat minor, an A flat 6 chord, whatever. Like, all these chords have one note in common, have a C in common, right? So learning how to play with melody notes that transition seamlessly from one chord to another is a big part of jazz. And so we're going to use Stella by Starlight as a template to sort of explain that concept. And the cool part is, by the end, you'll know all the chords and the melody, so you'll be able to play the standard as well. But it's a really, really good way of understanding how good voice leading and good melodic writing over complex chord structures can really sort of open up a whole new world for you. So let's, without further delay, let's get going. Let's do Stella by Starlight.